there's a lot of cited cases where there were violence at Tea Party rallies as well.
I'm a little frustrated with you tonight, and I you know I like you.
Organized labor is on the brink of collapse, and the pressure is getting to them. What was once a membership of hardworking men and women, big labor has degenerated into a band of anarchist thugs. Peaceful protests have given way to mob violence. Vocal dissent has turned into revenge, property destruction, and violent assault. Bob, you have a bird's eye seat to this. It's got to be tough to kind of come to terms with the end of the movement.
You know, you're about as delusional as you've ever been. I mean, the idea that somehow the labor movement's going to go away because you wrote that crap that you put on the front end of this thing is absolutely ridiculous. The fact of the matter is there were very few incidences of violence yesterday. There were 13,000 people there. 3 or 4 of them got in the middle of it.
Why should there be any? Why should there be any incidences?
Oh, I see. Why should you say very few? Because you had people there who were antagonizing these people, and you also had a tent that was there.
Bob, you antagonize me every day. If I turned around and punched you in the face 4 times, that wouldn't be acceptable.
And that's what got us in trouble the last time. It got me in trouble last time.
Bob, you cannot deny that this is not good for business, this type of public perception.
I think they should have kicked more of them, if you want to know the truth. And the fact is that they took down a tent here that was paid for by the Koch brothers.
Oh, my God.
In order to sponsor the thing. By the way, yesterday Dana said the people of Michigan voted for this bill. They did not vote for it. No. They voted against the constitutional change. That's what they voted for. It had nothing to do with right to work.
Hold on. Let's clarify a few things. There were people in the tent. There were elderly people in the tent. There were women in the tent.
That's okay.
That's okay. They're evil. Who cares who paid for it?
By a bunch of right-wing clubs like the Koch brothers who traded illegally with our enemies?
It's property destruction, it's violence, and it's assault.
And violence against women. Why are you saying that's okay, Bob?
Let me bring Dana in here. Dana, Jimmy Hoffa from the Teamsters said that Governor Schneider's actions were, in a sense, declaring civil war in Michigan. Trumpka says he's a puppet of these extreme donors. It goes on and on. The unions feel to me, am I wrong? Are they in the last grasp of fresh air?
I think so, and their language shows it. I can understand why they're angry and they're upset. But actually, this bill that the governor signed is pretty mild compared to what happened in Wisconsin and what they tried to do in Ohio. I do think that when you see the Governor Snyder, the guy is the most mild-mannered, easygoing guy. Bob, God.
I
can't say a word without you going.
Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead, say it. Say the nice things about the guy.
Forget it.
No, but go ahead. I was not going to say anything.
Here we have.
The thing is, I don't have to say anything because what you say actually, and the tone, is basically you're just like these guys, and that's the kind of language that isn't working. Yeah. I don't think that anybody who voted to make this change in Michigan did it for any other reason except for they want to bring jobs to Michigan. For a generation or two, things have been declining. They have looked at other states like Indiana and said, we'd like to be more like Indiana and change our fate.
Then let me ask you a question. This thing was voted on. It was posted, no committee hearings, no anything. They gave it the 5 days they had to under law. They locked up the Capitol, let nobody in. The state troopers were around, who, by the way, were exempt from this, by the way. And then the governor, the person you say is such a mild manner.
Don't.
What?
Honestly.
Don't what? I haven't said anything.
Yes, you're about to say. I know exactly what you're about to say. It's obvious. It's so. The tactics from the left are just like driving me crazy. They're not going to win friends or influence people by by that type of behavior or by attacking me because I'm saying that the governor is a mild-mannered guy.
I didn't attack you. You say he's a mild-mannered guy. I don't know the guy. Maybe he's mild-mannered, but he did this. He signed that bill, refused to have a signing ceremony. They signed it right away. It was all done behind closed doors.
Unlike the health care bill. Remember that thing?
Correct. Behind closed doors. It was done absolutely legally. The people of Michigan voted for all the state senators.
No, they did not.
Bob, they were elected. Every single one of them was elected. Do me a favor. Let's move on to topic 2, see if we can calm things down a little bit. Maybe we can. Mainstream media edited the violence and assaults from their nightly newscast last night. They told a very different story. Greg, very quickly, NBC Brian Williams said he called it a boisterous day. CBS said that union workers from across Michigan voiced their anger. ABC World News' Diane Sawyer says it was an ominous sign for unions. No one talked about the violence.
If Alec Baldwin had stubbed a toe at an Occupy Wall Street rally, they would have suspended the police force. It would have been 3 weeks of headlines on the New York Times. About a year ago, I coined a phrase called the pig pass. That's when a man is a feminist, he can then treat women like trash. That's a pig pass. You see that with people like Bill Maher. The thug pass is as long as you believe in the left-wing version of social justice, you can go out and hurt people, and the media say it's okay. That's why Bob has no problem with the violence. He gives them the thug pass.
Or Michael Moore.
What if it was a Tea Party rally protest and someone from the Tea Party put an ass whooping on one of the liberal journalists there? Do you think that would have been the lead?
They would have been in jail.
Oh,
and it would have been all over the press. Bob?
Yeah.
You were one of the first people to sit there and decry the actions of the Tea Party and say that they were violent and they were thugs.
I still do. But that's not the point.
And there was no evidence to support that.
The point is, one of the reasons these people did not lead with the story with violence is because there was so little of it. And you make it out that this is the whole part of that protest was around mob violence. It wasn't. It was an isolated incident. And why don't you say what it is? We've been running the same footage over and over and over again so you can take apart organized labor. That's what you're trying to do.
It happened within like 26 hours ago. Why not show a union guy beating up?
Did you show anything about the people who were protesting peacefully? No, you didn't, did you?
Look,
it's hard to find.
Where, Bob? Look it.
Look, you got one camera and one isolated incident. There's 12,000 people there.
Let's
face it. The footage fits your commentary. So go ahead.
I want to agree with Bob. I actually think that this was, again, I think it was a mild bill, and I think the reaction to it was a lot more mild than what you saw in Wisconsin. Which
joins from Washington, Marjorie Clifton, a Democratic strategist, and here in the studio, Democrat and Fox News analyst Kirsten Powers. So the Lansing thing, I don't think this is isolated. And the networks knew about it because it was on every website in the world. And they chose not to bring it to their viewers.
Yeah.
Why do you think?
Well, I can't speak for them, but I certainly can say that whenever there was a Tea Party rally and they found one sign out of 500 people that was racist, then they would use that to show that the entire movement was racist. Right. So it seems odd in this situation that they would ignore a story that makes the unions not look very good. And in the clips you showed, talking about how there's a lot of anger, and that seems to be a very good example of anger.
Were you ever a reporter, Powers? I don't even know. No, I was a reporter for many, many years. And I'll tell you, video like this, golden.
Yeah.
Golden. Stuff like this,
right.
You have to put it in your package.
Yeah.
All right? Yet, all three, Marjorie, all three, leave it out. Do you have any explanation at all? Is there any reason that you think that would have happened?
Well, I mean, I think it was widely covered. I mean, if you look at who actually
what does that
covered
mean,
the story.
Though? It was widely covered because it's something that is sensational. That's the word. It's sensational.
Absolutely. And if you look at the past rallies, like in Wisconsin, when you had the teachers' unions rallying, that was widely covered for months and months and months. So I don't think that the media necessarily is light on unions. But I would say in this one instance, we have to look at the context of what's happening in the media everywhere. I mean, we had the Oregon shooting in the mall that just happened. We've got, Jenna Bush is pregnant. We've got, but no, in all seriousness, what's happening in the Middle East. And it was reported on. And actually, as I read the headlines in 14 major newspapers, the Huffington Post, ABC, NBC, and CBS.
All right, Marjorie, maybe you're not understanding my question, Marjorie.
Yeah.
It's not a matter of coverage. It's a matter of they intentionally left this out. Intentionally. They had it. They saw it. They didn't put it into their packages at ABC, CBS, and NBC. You're a producer.
Well,
if you're a producer, how can you possibly leave that out? It's impossible unless there is a political agenda, Marjorie.
Well, but what you've got to look at is they talked about it as boisterous. They talked about it as violence. And there were specifics.
You had video to back that up, the violent part.
There was video of Tea Party rallies.
I want to be real clear, Marjorie. Are you making excuses for them? Are you saying this is the right and honest way to present journalism in this country? Is that what you're doing tonight?
What I would say is that violence is never a good solution. It's never a positive thing. Now, how the media actually positions things, I'm not the producer. I'm not standing in the room. But I will say that this is not the way there is a uniform strategy in terms of how violence is covered. Trayvon Martin apparently.
There's not a uniform strategy at all. People cover the people are supposed to cover the news. Look, this piece of tape comes into my office and I go, you got to put it on. Got to put it on. And any honest producer was going to put it on, period.
But Bill, look at what
Marjorie,
happened.
You're absolutely wrong. Maybe you don't understand the business. I don't know. And I'm not being demeaning to you. You're absolutely wrong. An honest television producer uses that video unless he or she is ordered not to for a political reason, period. Brian Williams knows that. Diane Sawyer knows that. Scott Pelley knows that. They all know it. And they did. No, Marjorie, no. I'm going to speak to this because I have been in this business for 35 years. All of those anchors people know you use that video. All of them did not use it.
Okay, but in the same way, you have to look at how in Wisconsin when they
no,
had
you don't.
The unions,
you don't have to look at anything. It happened yesterday. It's breaking news. You don't have to look at it. You use what comes into your desk when it's newsworthy. Am I wrong here?
Well, but okay,
wait, Margie, let's hear some
once you're not wrong. No, I mean, look, the comparable situation it would be the way they covered the Tea Party stuff, which was they always found this little
well, they
piece
hated
of
the
information.
Tea Party,
but
this is much more intense than the Tea Party.
But what I'm saying is that if you're going to pick out one incident at an event that you think shows what happened, if they're going to talk about boisterous and violent, that was the incident.
But boisterous is a far different thing than a guy. Look. That guy could have been killed. Wait, Marjorie. That man could have been killed.
Yeah, but Bill,
he could have been killed.
Of course.
If that guy hit him with a roundhouse, and then there's another guy screaming he has a gun.
But don't you also think part of this is the fact that he's associated with Fox? I feel that part of it is that they don't want.
Nobody knew that at the time. Nobody knew at the time that he was affiliated. He was a Fox, and he's not a major player at Fox. He's just some guy who goes out and he contributes once in a while. I don't think it was an anti-Fox play. I think it was, we don't want to make the unions look bad play. That's what I think it was.
Talking about the entire thing as violent and boisterous and the footage that was shown did not show this peaceful rally that unions were hosting. This was not favorable to unions. This is a bad thing for unions, and there's a lot of heat. But I mean, I would also say the Americans for Prosperity, the head of that, came out and said, well, at Tea Party rallies, we never had violence. And I just think we need to fairly represent. Good. Again, violence never acceptable in any situation.
That's true. There was no violence that we know of. And you know what?
Oh, no. There's a lot of cited cases where there were violence at Tea Party rallies as well.
I'm a little frustrated with you tonight, and I you know I like you. Please, tomorrow, forward me the video of violence at the Tea Party rallies, and I will put it on.
Fort Lauderdale, Florida.
No.
There was a protest
Marjorie Clifton.
Okay.
You, Marjorie Clifton. Forward that video to us, and we will put it on tomorrow. Okay?
Can I send you some family video, too? I'm going to send you some family footage of my daughter as well, just for fun.
Family footage.